I participated in the biannual Hello there, it's Samantha. So today I'm coming to you with my January wrap-up. I normally combine a book haul and a wrap-up, but I actually haven't bought any books so far this year, apart from one, but it was for school, so I don't really count it in my book buying. So yes, but I'm currently not really that interested in buying books. I'm just trying to save my money a lot at the moment, and also I just got Audible again, so I can listen to a lot of audiobooks without actually having to buy a physical book. And I'm moving to a different location in August actually, so yeah, I'm trying not to buy that much stuff at the moment. I fully intend to continue growing my personal library, but just at the moment I'm just prioritizing other things. Like I'm also doing a lot of traveling this year, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, I'm prioritizing my money to go to other things, because if you didn't know, I'm currently at university. I pay for all my university stuff. I pay for all of my stuff. So yes, I do have to follow a budget, and at the moment book buying is not in that budget. But anyway, enough of that. That was, yes. In the month I read 5 books. I participated in the biannual bibliothon for the millionth time. I don't even know how many times I've participated now, but a lot. I actually didn't take part in any of the video challenges this year, just because I had had my finals week the week before, and normally like the week before the BiBib is like when I do a lot of my pre-filming, and so just because I couldn't use that time, I didn't. So there were no videos, but it's fine. I still took part and I read a lot. I actually read all of the books that I'm going to talk about in that week, and since then I haven't finished a book, but I'm working on it. So that's something. Let's just go ahead and get on into all the books that I read. So the first book that I finished in the month is one that I actually started reading on Christmas Eve because I was home alone for a little bit, like an hour. So I just decided to read a book. So I started reading that and I finished it in January. It took me a long time to read, but that is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. This was one of my most anticipated books of 2018, and if you don't know what it's about 2 boys called Arthur and Ben, and they meet one day in the post office, but they don't get each other's names and they don't really know anything about each other, but they feel like they're meant to be together. So Arthur actually ends up doing this kind of convoluted thing in order to find Ben. Then a lot of things go wrong, but then they're like, what if it's us? Like, what if the universe is telling us that we need to be together? It's about all of that. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of disappointed by this book, unfortunately. I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars, which is still a good rating, like don't get me wrong, but unfortunately, I just thought I would like it more because I love Becky Albertalli and I love Adam Silvera. So I thought like the combination of the two would just be perfect. This book was just a bit too slow for me. Like it took me ages to read, and normally I fly through Becky's books and Adam's books actually. Like I normally go through them really quickly, but for this it just took me such a long time to get through, and I just never felt fully invested in either of the characters or their relationship. Unfortunately, I just couldn't connect. I just didn't, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. And it might be because of the time that I read it, I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't fully, I was kind of in a reading slump. I've been kind of in a reading slump this forever, so I think it was kind of that, but also I don't know, I just didn't love it as much as their other work, which is a real shame. Definitely I will continue reading books by both of these authors, and if they wrote another co-authored book I would definitely read that as well, because I have nothing against them, but this book just wasn't for me. Overall, this book was kind of disappointing for me, but I still enjoyed it. It was still cute and fun, so 3.5, not a bad rating, but just kind of disappointing, but oh well. The next book that I read was the first one that I read for the biannual bibliothon, and that was Empress of All Seasons by Emiko Jean. I had listened to this on audio actually, but I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it a 3.75 out of 5 stars because it was really interesting. I really liked the beginning, and I thought the world building was really great in the beginning. Then the middle felt really rushed, which was kind of annoying, and then the end also felt kind of rushed, which was annoying. Overall, I did really enjoy the book, and I thought it was a really nice feminist story that had Japanese mythology, which was so interesting. Definitely a really interesting fantasy read, very different from a lot of the other stuff I've read, but because of the issues that I had with the pacing, I had to knock it down a little bit. Also, the love interest sucked. There was a female character whose name I've forgotten now because I read it quite a while ago, but she was like the, she wasn't the weapons master, that's the wrong word, but if you've read the book you know who I mean, I assume. But she was such a badass and I loved her character so much, and I would literally read a spin-off book just about her. Like if it came out tomorrow I would read it happily. If for some reason you don't know what this book is about this world where the emperor is kind of like the selection in a way, where these girls have to compete in this competition to become the emperor's wife, or I guess the empress of this land, and they have to go through like 4 different rooms, and each room is a different season, but there's like these people who are kind of like, I don't know what the best way to describe this is. I've heard people describe it as like The Selection meets Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and I feel like that's a good way to describe it, because you have that aspect of The Selection and then the kind of like creatures aspect from Daughter of Smoke and Bone. But basically in this world they're kind of like creatures who are like different from humans, but some look like humans, and they're like massively discriminated against. Like they have to wear a collar around their neck, which I think like diminishes their power, I think. I can't remember, it was a long time ago that I read this, but yeah, it was really interesting, really good book. I'm going to link its synopsis down below because that synopsis is all over the place, but I would definitely recommend it if you're interested in Japanese mythology fantasy books. But yeah, I gave it 3.75 because the pacing was off and also the love interest was the worst. The next book that I read was one that I do actually own, and that was La Casa de Bernarda Alba by Federico Garcia Lorca. This semester I'm taking a module on Federico Garcia Lorca, whose name I find it really hard to say. If you don't know Federico Garcia Lorca, Lorca, we're just gonna call him Lorca from now on. Lorca was a poet and playwright in the early 1900s, but yes, this semester I'm doing a module on him, so I'm reading 3 of his plays. This is the first play that I had to read by him. I'm not gonna give it a rating because I feel like it's unfair, because I read these in so much detail and analysis that by the end of it, I always hate it. So even if I didn't mind it first time around, by the time I'm done with it and written an essay on it, I hate it. So I don't wanna rate this book because I just won't, but I did read it. This actually has 3 plays in it, so yes. Next I will be reading Bodas de Sangre, which I will be talking about in February, I guess. But La Casa de Bernarda Alba is all about repression. It's about this woman called Bernarda Alba, and she has 5 daughters. Yes, she has 5 daughters, and she is very controlling of them and doesn't let them leave the house because their father just died. So she set out a period of 8 years of mourning, so they're not allowed to leave the house and they have to wear black all the time. And yeah, she's very controlling, and so it's about repression, and it's also about sexual desire and all sorts. And it's an interesting read for sure. But yeah. The next book that I read, I also listened to on audiobook, and that was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't want to add to the hype train, but I have to add to the hype train because it was such a good book. It was such a good read. I kind of thought I wouldn't love it because I'm just, I don't know, like the plot sounds so simple that you're like, why would I enjoy this? But then you read it and you're like, that was just so good. I ended up giving it 4.75 out of 5 stars. The reason I knocked it down 0.25 stars is because I did find the beginning a little bit slow, but you know, overall I loved it a lot. But essentially, if you don't know, but I'm sure you do know, but if you don't know, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is about this actress called Evelyn Hugo. She is fictional, but she's kind of like a Marilyn Monroe type, like that sort of level of fame, and also like that sort of era of film. She famously had 7 husbands, and she hasn't done an interview in years, and one day she contacts this woman called Monique and says that she wants to do a autobiography, but she will only do it if Monique writes it. I guess biography, not autobiography, biography. And Monique is really confused because she's kind of new to the journalism scene, so she doesn't understand why she's been chosen, although there is a reason that she was chosen, but I'm not going to go into that because that is major spoilers. Anyway, and she recounts her life and why she had 7 husbands and what it was like breaking into the Hollywood scene and all that. And it was just so phenomenal, and I loved it so much. It talks about being Cuban and trying to break into the Hollywood scene as well, and having to kind of hide your identity or change things about you to fit in. It's just so good, and I can't really put it into words. It's also really, really sad. You can't deal with sad. Just the ending will kill you. It just sadness. But yeah, it was really phenomenal and I would definitely recommend it. The final book that I read in the month of January was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This was my 4th time reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I listened to this on audiobook again as well, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I really don't feel like I need to say anything else because honestly, I love Harry Potter so much. I think I've spoken about it so many times on this channel, and I think the fact that I've read the book 4 times kind of tells you how much I love it. And I'm actually currently listening to Chamber of Secrets also on audio because I love it so much. But yes, anyway, so those were all of the books that I read in the month of January. That is all that I have for today's video. If you've read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts down below. I would love to know. Also, let me know what you read in January, or just let me know what your favorite book of the month was, or least favorite. I'm always interested to know that. My least favorite was definitely What If It's Us, unfortunately. My favorite was probably Evelyn Hugo, if we exclude Harry Potter, which I will because I've read it a million times. But that is all that I have for today's video, so I hope you liked it. If you did, please give a thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below. I try and upload videos on Fridays, but sometimes they're infrequent because I'm a busy person and I'm sorry. But yes, that is all that I have for today's video, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon with another one. Bye!